Okay, so we'll be doing our back bend class this morning. And remember, last night we had a peak pose in mind. So for today, our peak pose is mermaid pose. So that's the one where you've got one leg in pigeon in front of you. You're holding your back foot in a little quad stretch. And then maybe you take your arms back in that mermaid arm position. Okay, doesn't matter if we get into that final shape because we'll be working all the stages, all the components around the final pose. The actions of the front leg being in a little bit of a hip opener, the actions of a back leg in a bit of a quad stretch. And then you'll notice we'll bring in some shapes for the arms to put our arms into this kind of position. Okay, I'm going to show you how you can set yourself up with the blocks if you want to try a little supported back bend to begin with. Please just make sure that your head isn't falling back too far and straining your neck. And if anything gets sore, just lie flat on your back. Okay, so either you're going to use your pillow or you can have one or two blocks. So maybe if you only have one block, have it a little bit lower down so it's supporting your ribs, and then maybe a pillow behind your head so your head doesn't feel too far back. So if you're doing that setup, it will look like this. Block under your rib cage so your lower back is still free and your head should feel comfortable. Okay. Then if you've got two blocks, maybe you want to try it that way. You can have the block once again on its flattest height, and the block overhead for your head will be a little bit higher. Okay, so it can look like that. And then of course, if you're very comfortable in back bends and it's something that you quite enjoy, you can bring your blocks even up a little bit higher up. Okay, if your back is somebody that doesn't like a lot of back bends and you find it actually really uncomfortable, please just lie flat and be comfortable. Okay, we're just going to do some shoulder stretches and some chest openers, and the blocks are optional. Okay, so if you're doing higher blocks, the block would be between the shoulder blades, running across with the spine, and then my head is supported so that there's no strain in the neck. All right, so maybe you just want to spend a little time figuring that out. And then we'll lie here with our legs in a cross-legged position, maybe on a little bit of a pillow or block support. Okay, let me check in with you guys to make sure that you find something that works. Otherwise, just lie on your back with your legs crossed. That is also fine. Okay. Carmel, maybe run your pillow the other way so it's running underneath your back. Yes, just like that. That's going to feel lovely. Okay.
Like this, or are we lying down?
Yeah, Summer, that would be fantastic. Have your pillow lengthways so it's supporting your whole upper back and spine, that your arms can kind of fall off the sides. First of all, make sure your neck is comfortable and there's no strain in your back. If there is a strain, just come off the support. Okay. Lie with your legs crossed or legs bent or straight if that feels most comfortable for you. We're going to be here for a few breaths, so please make sure that you feel okay. All right. So hopefully you find somewhere comfortable now. You're going to bring your elbows out to the sides in a cactus position so that you can feel a nice stretch across your chest, into the pecs, into your arms. Make sure there's no tension in your neck, your low back feels comfortable. And we're going to glide the elbows up and down, almost like you're doing little snow angels here. Inhale as you lift your elbows up slightly above the head, and then exhale as you glide your elbows down towards your waist. Still keeping the arms in that cactus-like position. Inhale, arms up, and exhale to glide arms down. So you're feeling a nice strong stretch across the chest and into the shoulders. Just moving slowly, using this time to just Check into how your body is feeling this morning. Connect with your breath. Allow your mind to become quieter as you draw your awareness inwards towards your breath and to your body. One last breath like this. And then you're going to take hold of your arms above your head and hold your elbows. So your hands are holding onto each elbow, and then allow your arms to drop back overhead, either to the floor or maybe they're hovering off your support. So you're feeling a nice stretch into the shoulders. Don't overdo it if you're working with any shoulder niggles. Please feel free to release your arms at any point. If it's feeling all right, you'll feel a nice stretch coming into the shoulders, maybe a bit into your triceps, and take a nice deep breath in here. And then change the grip of your arm so that your other elbow is on top. Change the grip and then relax the arms overhead. Once again, feeling that nice stretch into the shoulders and arms. Just go nice and easy. Last deep breath here. And then slowly float your arms down to your sides. Bring your elbows or your palms onto the floor to assist you back up to a seated position. Remove your pillows or your blocks off to the side. You won't need them again. Good. Uncross your legs and recline back onto your back. Good. Just take a few moments here to let your back settle and neutralize after that little back bend. Because we'll be doing a mermaid pose as our peak pose, we're going to start to warm up and open the hips a little bit. So cross your right ankle over your left thigh for a figure 4 stretch and press your right thigh out to feel that external rotation now into the hip. Good. We're turning the thigh bone outwards in the socket. And then from here, float your left leg up and see if you can take hold of the back of your left thigh. Or if you want a deeper stretch, you can even hold the front of your left shin. You should be feeling a good stretch into your right bum cheek, into the right hip. And then just relax your shoulders back onto the mat, soften your neck. And just take a few deep breaths into that hip opener on the right. From here, we'll take a twisted figure 4. So bring your left toes down to the middle of your mat. Left toes to the middle of the mat. And then twist towards the left, bringing your right sole of foot to the outside of the mat on the left. Excellent. And you should feel a nice twist in your figure 4 pose. Now you can stay here if this is feeling enough this morning. Option to take your right hand and reach it down and see if you can find your left foot. Wiggling your left knee and thigh back so you feel a little quad stretch for your left bottom leg. If that feels like too much going on this morning, just come into a twist and take a few breaths here wherever you feel most comfortable.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Slowly come back through the center and release the cross of your legs. From here, we go to the other side, crossing your left ankle over your right thigh for a figure 4 pose. And press that left thigh out to feel that external rotation in the hip. Lovely. From here, we float the right leg up and take hold of the back of the right thigh or shin, whatever feels good for you this morning. And feel that stretch into the outer left hip, in the bum, into the hip. And soften through your shoulders, taking a few deep breaths here. Ready to move into our twist. Your right toes come to the middle of the mat, just so that they're close enough for that quad stretch if you want. And then twist your left foot over to the right side of the mat, coming into a twisted figure four pose. Now, option to just stay here. Maybe your arms come into cactus, or you can take hold of your right toes with your left hand and draw the right thigh back into a gentle quad stretch. Just finding where this works for you today, with a little opening into the hips and maybe a gentle quad stretch. Deep breaths here in the twist. Good. When you're ready, we slowly release and untwist and ground through the feet and soften back to the mat. Lovely. Reach your arms overhead and roll yourself up to a seated position. Option to roll over onto all fours or pop your feet off to one side and come into child's pose. For child's pose, we have the knees apart and the big toes together. So we've got a little V shape in the legs, and then walking your arms forwards into your child's pose and really reaching through your fingers and your arms to feel a nice length in the spine and lengthen to the sides of the body, and relaxing your forehead down to the mat. Take a few breaths here to soften into your child's pose and continue to think of lengthening forwards through your arms and your spine. From here, gently walk your hands over to the right side, bringing your chest over your right thigh and finding a nice stretch down the left side of your body. Take a few deep breaths into the left ribs, left side of the body, nice lateral stretch. So you'll notice in the class today, we'll do a lot of the side stretching to help warm up the spine and the muscles on either side of the spine. Slowly walk back through the back and all the way over to the left side, bringing your chest over your left thigh and finding a nice stretch down the right side of your body. Deep breaths into your right ribs. Good. Moving back to the center. Then bring your elbows onto the floor. So elbows on the floor in child's pose. Gently here, you're going to release the head down and bend your elbows to place your hands to the back of your head so that you find a nice tricep stretch in child's pose. And then here, wiggle your elbows forwards a little bit more so you feel even more stretch into the shoulders, the arms, into triceps. Don't overwork the shoulders. If it feels a bit strong, just go to where you can feel a nice stretch. Stay here if this is enough for you today. Otherwise, keep your right hand where it is. An option to take cow face arms, Gomukhasana arms. You take your left arm out to the side. Turn your thumb down towards the floor. Bend your left elbow and see if you can clasp your hands behind your back with the left arm back, right elbow in line with your ear, and feeling a nice big stretch into those shoulders. This can be a little bit strong, so make sure that you're not overdoing it. It's especially if you're working with any shoulder niggles, be gentle here. And then option to feel it on the other side, releasing the left elbow back to the mat, sending the right arm to the side, turning the thumb down to the floor, and then bending that right elbow and seeing if you can clasp hands or just reach fingertips towards one another. They don't need to touch. And then feeling a nice big stretch in those shoulders in your child's pose. Gently release your arms and push up onto all fours. Bringing your hands underneath your shoulders and your knees stacking underneath your hips. Remember here, your pointer finger is pointing forward, so the hands may feel a little bit turned out, and just see if that feels good for you. Often it feels great for our wrists. Okay, warming up through a few rounds of cat and cow. We inhale to gently gaze up, arch the spine and lift your chest. And on your exhalation, round through the spine, tuck the tailbone and gaze towards your belly button. Moving with our breath as we inhale, lengthen forwards, lift the chest and glide your shoulder blades down. And on your exhale, rounding the spine to feel a nice stretch all the way down along your back. Continue for 2 more rounds with your own breath. Inhaling forwards and exhaling to round. Just feeling a good stretch wherever you need to in your body this morning. Do whatever feels good. And when you're ready, return back to all fours. From here, we send the right leg back behind you and then squeeze that right leg up nice and high. Unlike last night, where we wanted to keep our hips parallel, today I'm going to say allow your hips to open a bit so your right leg goes higher up at the back. Can you feel the difference? So we're allowing more range of movement for that back leg for later on. Bend your right knee, almost like a little scorpion tail. Lift your chest and broaden your collarbones. From here, we do a little baby chaturanga with the scorpion tail. So look forwards and lean a little forwards onto your hands. Bend your elbows like a baby chaturanga, squeezing elbows into your sides and squeezing your right leg up a little bit higher. Take a breath here. And then push to straighten your arms. Bring your right knee to your chest and take a big step forwards into a lunge. Nice. Wiggle that foot forward so that your knee is stacking over your ankle. Be on your fingertips and lift your chest. So for back bends, we spend a lot of time stretching through the back, hip flexor and quad. So you'll notice we'll bring in a few extra stretches for that this morning. From here, ground your left hand firmly on the ground. Slowly bend your left back knee. So here can be a little bit niggly on your knee, so you can take extra padding, or what I recommend is shuffle that left leg back, so when you bend the knee, you rest more onto the top of your thigh and less onto your actual kneecap. So make sure you're okay with that. Twist your right arm up to the ceiling. An option here to reach your right hand back for your left foot. So big stretch here. Lean your weight into your left hand. Twist your chest open and find a quad stretch, reaching your hand back for your back foot. Breathing into that stretch. Well done. Gently release and ground back through your hands. Bring hands a little bit closer. As you sweep your right leg straight back behind you once again. Bend your right knee back into that scorpion tail. Now put your weight on your right hand and twist your left arm up and reach your left hand for your right foot at the back. Good. Once you've got hold of your foot, gently start to kick your left foot into your right hand. Open the chest and twist your chest gently open, kicking those toes up nice and high at the back. Take one more breath, well done. And then exhale, gently release back onto all fours. Lovely. Let's just roll that up. Move through a few cat-cows. Inhale to lengthen and arch. Exhale to round and stretch up. Move with your breath and just blow it out. Lovely. We'll feel that on the other side. So extending your left leg back, reaching the leg up nice and high. So the hips may open a little bit and we allow for that to get the leg higher. That's totally cool. Bend the left knee for a little scorpion tail. Lift your chest. Baby chaturanga as we lean the weight forwards onto the hands. Bend your elbows and squeeze your elbows to your ribs and kick your back leg up nice and high. Take one more breath here. And then pushing arms straight. Well done. Taking a big step forwards, knee to nose step, left foot forwards into your lunge. Come up onto your fingertips. Allow the hips to come down so you can feel a nice stretch into that back hip. And breathe into that stretch. Nice. This time we ground the right hand onto the floor firmly. Lean your weight onto that right hand. Twist your left arm up towards the ceiling and open the chest. Wiggle your right thigh back so that you can really get onto the thighs. You bend your right knee. Hopefully not too much pressure on the knee, more weight on the top of the thigh. Reach your left hand back for your right foot. And if your left knee opens out to the side a bit, just allow for that to create more space. Beautiful. Find a nice deep quad stretch here and breathe into that stretch. Nice. Slowly we release. Rounding back through the hands, come back a little bit closer. Sweep your left leg behind you. Scorpion tail your left leg. This time weight shifts onto your right hand. Sorry, your left hand. And your right hand reaches back for your left foot. Weight is on the left hand, reaching back with your right hand. Twisting your chest open, kicking your foot into your hand. Take one more deep breath here. And softly release it down, back onto all fours. Well done. Good. So again, check in with your hand, pointer finger pointing forwards, fingers spread out nice and wide. Step one foot back and tuck the toe to prepare for plank. Shoulders are neutral. Lovely. Step the other foot back. Find your plank pose, nice and strong. Gaze slightly forwards. Take a breath here in your plank. And remember how we spoke about the push in the arms? Push through your hands to slowly move your hips up and back into downward facing dog. Beautiful. So remember we spoke about the shoulders. Feel a good push into your hands so your shoulders lift a little bit up towards your ears. Relaxing your neck. Allow the tailbone to lift up nice and high. And if those hamstrings are a little tight this morning, option just to pedal out your feet or bend and stretch your knees. Do whatever feels good in your first downward dog of the day. Keep that push into the hands, nice strong shoulders and arms. Now continue to walk your feet slowly forwards to the top of the mat until you come to standing with your feet together between your hands. Bring hands onto the shins for a halfway lift and press your chest forwards, lengthening the spine. And on your exhale, forward fold and relax the back of your neck. Option to bend the knees a little bit if hammies are feeling tight, or keeping legs straight. Rising on up to standing. Inhale, reach up through your arms. And remember how we spoke about high mountain? Reach up to feel a stretch in the sides of the body, shoulders lightly moving up with your arms. And then relax your arms down to your sides. And take a moment to ground and release here in Tadasana, mountain pose. Spreading the toes, grounding through the soles of the feet, and with your eyes closed, gently rocking forwards and back between the balls of your feet and your heels. Finding where your weight centers in the middle of the feet. Gently allow the eyes to open. As we inhale, breathe both arms up, high mountain. Today we're going to drop the right arm down to the side and take a nice side stretch over to the right. Good, warming up through the sides of the body. Inhale, breathe both arms up. And then to the other side, left arm drops down, side stretch over to the left. Lovely. Inhale, both arms, reach up. Exhale, slow forward fold, coming all the way down. Bringing hands to shins for a halfway lift. Press your chest forwards, lengthen spine. Really feel those shoulder blades gliding down your back as we move towards back bends today. Emphasis on pressing the chest forwards. And then ground your hands and take a step back into plank. Finding strength in our plank, we hold. Active legs, strong straight arms. Take a deep inhale. And now see how slowly you can push into downward dog. Push through your hands, almost try and make your arms shake, that you're pressing the floor away so hard. Nice. Hips are lifting up nice and high in your downward dog. Take a breath here. We sweep the right leg up for three-legged dog. And today, allow your hips to open and send that right leg up nice and high. Very different from last night. Feel the difference in the hips. Bend your right knee and tip your right heel over towards your left sit bone. So we're allowing the hips to open and feeling a nice stretch into those hips. Beautiful. Come back to three-legged dog. Reach the right leg up high. And take a big step forwards between your hands. Ground your back knee down. And inhale both arms up for Anjaneyasana, crescent moon pose, which is a low lunge with a little back bend. So reach up through your arms so that you feel the sides of your body lengthening up with you. And lift your chest. Release right hand down to the side and take a side stretch over to the right. Inhale, reach both hands up, lengthening through the sides of the waist. And then exhale, bend your elbows into cactus and lift your chest, little back bend with cactus arms. Beautiful. Inhale, reach arms up. And lastly, circle your hands behind you and interlace your fingers. Straightening your arms and lifting your chest, little back bend, inhale. Beautiful. Exhale, release hands back to the mat. Straighten the back knee. Sweep right leg back into three-legged dog. And back to downward facing dog. Beautiful. Lifting the hips high and down dog and pushing through those hands. Over to the left, we sweep left leg up, three-legged dog. Allow the hips to open and take that left leg up nice and high. Bend the left knee and tip your heel over towards the right sit bone, allowing the hips to open. Feel a nice stretch into the hips. Turn back into three-legged dog and step forwards between your hands. Bring the right knee down to the ground and inhale, both arms rise up into a low lunge with a little back bend. See how much you can reach through your arms so that you create length through the sides of your body. Breathing in. Exhale, drop your left hand down towards the mat. Take a side stretch over to the left, twisting your chest open. Inhale, both arms rise up. Exhale, cactus arms with a little back bend. Lift your chest. Inhale, both arms rise. And circling your hands behind you, interlace your fingers. Inhale, straighten your arms and lift your chest. Deep breath in. Exhale, release hands back to the mat. Straighten the back knee. And then sweep back to three-legged dog. And back into your downward facing dog. Breathing here in down dog. Gazing to the top of the mat, option to walk, step, or maybe jump forwards between your hands. Inhale, hands to shins, halfway lift, press chest forwards. And exhale, forward fold, head down, softening your neck. Rising up to standing. Inhale, really reach up, feel the length in the sides of the body. Lengthening the spine as we reach up. And then relaxing arms down to your sides. Take a moment to come back to your breath. You can close your eyes if you want. And take a moment to ground. Softly allowing the eyes to open. Next, we start in our chair pose. So with feet together, we bend the knees and brush fingertips across the ground, sitting our weight back into the heels and squeezing knees and thighs together. Sweeping arms forwards and sitting back down into those hips and heels. Circle your arms behind you for a back bend in chair as we interlace the fingers. Inhale, straighten the arms and lift the chest, lifting the gaze but not dropping the head back. Take a breath here. And then keeping the fingers interlaced, straighten the legs and forward fold, allowing the hands to tip overhead. Feeling a nice stretch across those shoulders. Release your hands to the ground and soften. Inhale, hands to shins, press chest forwards, halfway lift. Exhale, ground the hands and step back for plank. Nice and strong in your plank, active legs. And to move into downward dog, push slowly into your hands to feel that work in your shoulders and arms. We're building up that shoulder strength through that transition. Back into down dog. Well done. Take a breath here. Coming into three-legged dog, inhale, right leg sweeps up. Once again, we bend the knee and tip right heel towards the left hip. Now, if you're working with any shoulder issues, please stay here. Otherwise, option to flip your downward dog into a wild thing, grounding the right foot on the left side of the mat and pressing your hips up towards the ceiling, reaching top arm overhead for a back bend. Gently turn back to three-legged dog. Right leg squeezes up. Inhale. Good. Big step forwards for high lunge. Stepping right foot through. Right knee over right ankle. And inhale, reaching up through the arms. Really reach up to feel that length in the sides of the body. And again, we flow, dropping right arm to the side, side stretch over to the right. Inhale, both arms rise. Exhale, cactus arms with a little back bend. Lifting the chest. Inhale, both arms rise. Circling arms behind you, interlace your fingers. Inhale, lift your chest. Now ground your left back heel, so your heel comes to the mat. And forward fold for humble warrior, bringing your right shoulder to the inside of your right thigh and knee. Relax the head down and soften your neck. Beautiful. Release hands back to the ground and turn back onto the board of your back foot. Sweep right leg up, three-legged dog. And back into your downward facing dog. Well done. Take a breath here in your down dog. We feel that over onto the left side. So left leg rises up, three-legged dog. Bend the left knee to heel to right sit bone. Stay here if you're working with any shoulder issues because it's quite strong on the shoulder. Or option to flip your dog into a wild thing, pressing hips and shoulders up, reaching top arm overhead for a back bend. Take a breath. And flip it back to three-legged dog, left leg rising up. Beautiful. Big step forwards for high lunge. You ready? And step it through. Knee stacks over ankle. And inhale, rising the arms up. See how high you can reach up with those arms. Dropping left arm down to the side. Side stretch over to the left. Inhale, both arms lift. Exhale, cactus arms with a little back bend. Inhale, arms rise. And exhale to circle arms behind you. Interlace your fingers. Inhale, lift your chest. And then ground your back heel and forward fold for humble warrior pose. Reaching arms up and softening through the neck and head. Release hands back to the mat. Turn back onto the ball of the right foot. Right leg sweep, left leg up into three-legged dog. Inhale. And back into downward facing dog. Lower to child's pose. Bring knees apart. Big toes together. And soften your chest to the ground. Take a few deep breaths here in child's pose. And relax any tension from your body. Gently from child's pose, we begin to press back into downward facing dog, reaching the arms forwards and pressing up through the hips. Gazing to the top of the mat, option to walk, step, or jump to our hands. Halfway lift as we inhale, bring hands to shins, press chest forwards. And exhale, forward fold and relax through the back of your neck. Rising up to standing, inhale, reach up, feel that length through the sides. And then relaxing arms down to your sides. Coming back to your breath. Back to your stillness. Back to ground. Beautiful. Allowing your eyes to open. We're beginning our chair pose once again. Bending the knees, brushing fingertips across the ground, sitting back into Utkatasana chair pose. This time, bring hands to heart center in prayer. Take a twist towards the right, hooking your left elbow to your right outer thigh. Once you've got that hook, lean your shoulders back and draw your hands down towards the center of your chest. Shift your weight onto your right foot and see if you can float your left leg up so that it feels light and take a big step back into a lunge. Good, not an easy transition that. Inhale, arms up into high lunge. Well done. Beautiful. Ground your back heel and turn to a warrior two. Arms come out horizontally and we're pressing that right thigh out to feel the opening in the hip. Beautiful. Inhale, straighten your arms and legs. Turn your feet to point forwards to the side of your mat and change direction. Left toes turn out 90 degrees. Right toes turn in slightly. And then take warrior two on your left leg, pressing that left thigh out. Lovely. Into side angle pose, bring your left elbow either onto your thigh or fingertips all the way to the ground if you want, and sweep your right hand down towards the mat and over in line with your right ear. Coming into side angle pose. Beautiful. Feel that nice stretch through the right side of the body. Keep the lunge as you come up to reverse your warrior. Beautiful. An option to bind your fingertips overhead like you did earlier in child's pose, Gomukhasana arms. Left elbow reaches up, right arm wraps behind. Nice stretch through the shoulders. Slowly release and windmill your arms to the back of the mat. So you're facing the back of the mat and step back into downward facing dog. Down dog facing the other way. Take a deep breath here in your down dog. Nice. From here, sweep your right leg up, three-legged dog, and step forwards between your hands. Turn to the other side of your mat and bend both knees wide into a goddess pose. Feet are turned out, thighs are pressing out, arms are coming down into cactus. Inhale, straighten arms and legs into a star. And exhale, bend the knees, bend the elbows, goddess pose. Two more like this with your breath. Inhale to straighten. Exhale, goddess squats, little back bend, lift your chest. Last time, inhale to straighten. Exhale, goddess squat. Inhale to straighten. Turn back to face the front of your mat. Good. Like a little high lunge pointing forwards. Bring your hands to heart center. Facing back to the front of your mat now. Cross your right ankle over your left thigh, just as we did earlier on, and sit down into a standing figure four pose. Focus your eyes for balance. Now you can stay here if this is enough, or reach your right hand back and take your right foot behind you for a dancer's pose. You hold the inside of the foot. Reach left arm up overhead. Gently kick your foot into your hand, lifting your chest into a little back bend. And then option to lean forwards into your dancer's pose, kicking the back toes up nice and high. Take one more breath here. And then squeeze thighs together to come back to standing. And relaxing mountain pose. Well done. That's not an easy one, so take a breath, take a moment to ground. Are you ready to feel that on the other side? Let's go. Bending the knees, we start in chair pose, Utkatasana. Bring hands to the center of your chest and take a twist to the left, hooking your right elbow to your left outer thigh and then leaning the shoulders back to draw your hands down towards the middle of your chest. Weight on your left foot. Right foot feels lighter. Step right foot back into a lunge. It's not easy. Good, and then come up into a high lunge, reaching arms up. Well done. From high lunge, turn to open out into warrior two. Round the back heel and press that left thigh out to feel an opening in that left hip. Inhale, straighten arms and legs and turn your feet to the front of the mat. And then change sides. Right toes turn out 90 degrees, left toes turn in, and take warrior two to the right side. Good, we've changed direction. Into side angle pose, either elbow on the thigh or fingertips to the ground. Sweep left fingers down and then over in line with the left ear. Twisting your chest open in your side angle pose. Coming up to reverse your warrior, inhale, sweep back. An option to take Gomukhasana, arms interlacing fingers and reaching up through the top arm. Deep breath in here. Exhale to windmill your arms to the back of the mat. Facing backwards now, step back, downward facing dog, pointing to the back. And just breathing here in your down dog. Bringing it back around, left leg sweeps up, three-legged dog. Step forwards between your hands. And come up to turn to the side of your mat into a goddess squat. Pressing the thighs out, bending elbows into cactus. Beautiful, you've got it. Inhale to straighten arms and legs. Exhale, goddess squat with a little back bend. Two more like this. Inhale to straighten. Exhale, goddess squat. One last time. Inhale to straighten. Exhale, cactus with a little back bend. Beautiful. Inhale to straighten arms and legs. Pivot back to the front of your mat. High lunge, facing forwards again. Bring hands to heart center. Standing figure four. You ready? Step your left ankle over your right thigh. And then squat down into a standing figure four. Now stay here, or you have the option to move into dances. Left leg sweeps back. Left hand holds the inside arch of the foot. Right arm extends up overhead. And we just start to kick the foot into the hand to create a little bow shape. And then option to lean forwards into dancer's pose. Lock your eyes, your drishti for balance. Take one more breath in your dancer. And then slowly come back up to center. Well done. And release into Dasana, mountain pose. Take a few breaths here to ground. Let's flow it out. Inhale, arms up, high mountain. Exhale, slow forward fold, coming all the way down. Inhale, hands to shins, halfway left. Exhale, ground through the hands and take a step back into plank. This time we're going to bring in a little kneeling chaturanga. So bring your knees to the mat. Look forwards. So pause here for a moment. You're like in a kneeling plank position with your shoulders, hips, and knees in one straight diagonal line. Make sure you're not dropping the hips, but that you're staying nice and strong. Look forwards, and as slow as you can, begin to bend your elbows into chaturanga slowly, slowly. Look forwards, and think of leaning forwards, forwards, forwards as if you're moving past your hands. Slowly come to lower down into your belly. Pointing the toes. Roll your shoulders back and inhale, baby cobra curl. Feel your shoulders really drawing down your back. Exhale to soften. And slow, strong push back to hands and knees. So use those arms. Nice and strong to kneeling. Excellent. Tuck your toes and back into downward facing dog. Well done. Inhale, sweep right leg up, three-legged dog. And this time, bring your right knee to pigeon. Take your right knee to the outside of your right wrist, okay? So you want that knee nice and wide here in this pigeon. Knee to the outside of the wrist. Good. Now shuffle your left leg back. So literally slide back so that your hips come closer and deeper towards the floor. Beautiful. And then take a forward fold in your pigeon. Just easing in and towards our final pose. Walk your hands over to the right in pigeon. Find a nice side stretch through the left side of your body. And walk hands back through center to the other side. Walk over to the left and side stretch through the right side of your body. Come back to center. Bring your left forearm, your left elbow and forearm parallel to the front of your mat. And then twist your right arm up towards the ceiling. Good, twisting in our pigeon. And then change sides, right forearm parallel to the front of the mat. And then twist your left arm up. Good. And release back onto your hands, push yourself upright. Bend your back knee. All right, bring your right hand to the middle of the mat, so it's centered. And reach back to hold the inside arch of your left back foot. And come into a little quad stretch here. Beautiful. Feel a nice stretch in that back leg. See here if you can lightly push down through your right shin. So when you push down, using a little bit more strength to stay here, right? See if you can rely less and less on your right hand so that you're finding a stable base here without relying on your hands. That's the hardest part about this final pose, okay? So just feel lighter and through the hands and push down through the bottom shin to see if you can be here without hands. I know it's tough. Okay. Slowly release back to down dog. We'll revisit that in a second. Release the back foot, ground your hands, sweep back to three-legged dog. And back to down dog. Nice. On the other side, left leg rises, three-legged dog. And bring it into pigeon. Take your knee wide out to the side. This also helps you to get broader and find a more stable base, which you need for our mermaid pose. Okay, shuffle your right leg back. So those hips are getting nice and grounded, and forward fold in pigeon. Walk hands over to the left side and find a nice side stretch in pigeon. And then walking over to the right side and side stretch to the right. Gently come back. Bring your right forearm parallel to the front of the mat and twist left arm up to the ceiling. And changing sides, left forearm parallel and right arm twists up to the ceiling. Coming back up onto our hands, left hand comes to the middle of the mat. As we bend the right leg, again, the more you shuffle that leg back and rest more into the top of the right thigh, not the knee, the more stable you'll feel as well. Okay, and then feeling into that quad stretch, pushing down through the bottom shin so that you can feel a little bit lighter in your left hand. Just test yourself. You may have to make your left knee go wider or shuffle your back thigh back a little bit further to find more of a stable base. It's tough. That's the hard part about this one. When you're ready, gently release and sweep back into three-legged dog. Left leg sweeps up. We're going to come into our final pose in a moment where you can really explore that. Before we go, let's flow it out. Shift your weight forwards into plank. Bring your knees to the ground. Look forwards, lean forwards is the key. Lower as slowly as you can, bending your elbows into your ribs. And when you come down, make sure you haven't left your bum up. Your body should come down as one to the floor. Good. Roll the shoulders back. Inhale, curl into cobra. Gentle back bend. Exhale, release. See how strong you can push yourself back to kneeling, or if you're feeling really strong, back to plank. And strong push. And tuck toes, downward facing dog. Well done. Okay, are you ready for our final pose? Let's go. Right leg up, three-legged dog. Take that right knee wide for pigeon. A little tip here, if you find it very difficult to sit evenly in pigeon without your hands, if you have a block or your pillow, like we had earlier, underneath the bum cheek, I'll show you on the other side, you can sit on your cushion or your block, and that helps you to sit upright here without hands. Okay, so if you want to experiment, because this is quite a hard pose, don't expect to get it all in one day. Okay. So bend your back knee and come into a quad stretch. So here, hopefully that right knee is off to the side. You shuffled your left leg back as far as possible so that when you're in a quad stretch here, you're resting on your thigh. See if you can find a stable base and float your right arm up. That's a huge achievement just as is. You can be very happy with that. If you want to go further, you shuffle your foot into the inside of your left elbow. And you bend your left elbow, bring your left hand closer towards your face. And then maybe you clasp hands like we did earlier and come into your mermaid pose. Just finding a stable base here today is huge. So don't push yourself, be wherever you are, it's perfect. One more breath, exploring your mermaid. And then when you're ready, release it out. Well done. Ground the hands, tuck back toes, three-legged dog. Back to downward facing dog. Just stretch out for a moment because it's quite a big pose. When you're ready, you'll take it to the other side. Left leg up, three-legged dog. And take that knee wide for your pigeon. Remember, you can make use of your block. Sometimes one side is easier than the other side. Shuffle your right leg back as much as possible. Then we bend the back knee and take hold of the back foot for a quad stretch. So my tips here is to have left knee wide, right thigh shuffle back, and lightly push down through your bottom shin to lift you your chest and to bring a bit of strength down into your base. Okay, see if you can float left leg up so that you're relying less on your hands. Okay, maybe you're just exploring that, or maybe bringing the right foot into the inside of the left elbow. Left hand reaches to right hand, and maybe moving into your mermaid pose. Don't force anything. It's perfect wherever you are. We're going to be doing this lots, so don't worry about making it all happen today. Beautiful, everyone. One more breath here. Yay! Slowly release and ground back into downward facing dog. Left leg up, three-legged dog. And back into downward dog. Well done. Gently walk yourself forwards up to the top of the mat so you're standing between your hands. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold and just soften your back. Bend your knees and take Utkatasana chair pose. Sitting your weight back into the heels. And like we did last night, squat all the way down. Your heels will lift. Let your knees open to the side and just round your back into a little Malasana squat. When you're ready, you can sit your bum back to the mat and ever so slowly roll down onto your back. And just for a moment, with your knees bent, just like it in a neutral spine position. As we bring the spine into its natural curves after that big back bend you've just been in. And then softly hug your knees to your chest. Good. Take your knees out to the sides and take hold of the outer edges of your feet for a happy baby pose. And really just feel your back melting into the ground below you. If you like, you can rock a little from side to side, or maybe you just want to be still and breathe here. Whatever feels good for your back in this moment. You will feel your back muscles after a back bending class like we spoke about last night, because we're not used to doing movements like this. We don't do it in our everyday life. So sometimes the muscles can feel a bit tight or stiff or achy. That's also completely normal while our back gets stronger. Hug your knees back into your chest, nice big hug. And then roll your nose up and squeeze your nose towards your knees, nice and round and compact. Keep holding your right knee and stretch your left leg away and pull that right knee in a little bit tighter. Inhale, bring the left leg back and then change legs. Hug the left knee in, right leg reaches away. Hug both knees in, nice and round, super compact. And then relax back onto the ground. Well done. Place your feet the width of the mat. Arms into a cactus. And then just let the knees drop over to the right and soften into a gentle twist. And then roll the knees back through center and over to the left. One more each way, swaying through center over to the right. And last time, rolling over to the left. Coming back to center, and then straightening the legs down along the floor. What's also really nice if you have your pillow handy from earlier is to place your little cushion underneath your thighs, and then just allow your thighs to rest on your pillow, which feels really nice and restful for your back. I highly recommend it. Or just lying flat for Shavasana. and finding a comfortable position to settle yourself into. Take a few moments to make sure that you feel completely comfortable. And then become still and relax and truly let go.